Hi everyone, welcome to another week's video. Before I start, I would like to apologize by the state of my hands. I will explain. I have been selected in the past month, or a month and a half ago, I've been selected to join the Dublin Canvas project. This is a project where artists can paint over the traffic control light boxes spread out across the city. They open applications every year, and every year I give myself many reasons not to, just because it was something that I was kind of scared of joining in. It's a very big project, and this year I decided to finally try, and I got selected. So I've been painting this box for the past few days. If any of you follow me on Instagram, maybe you've seen on my stories, I have a highlight there on my profile if you want to check. The name is Dublin Canvas Project. I'll be posting maybe something here when I'm done. I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress, so I apologize for the state of my hands. I've been painting all morning. The desk also is a bit stained, my desktop. I haven't had time to properly set up everything. I just took a quick break while I wait for the rain come and go so I can continue painting outside. And in the meantime, why not, I decided to record this video for you. So I have a few exciting things here. The first thing is, in my last video you saw me swatching some Wallace Seymour watercolors that I got from the Beara Gallery here in Ireland, and two of them were hardened. I could still get some pigment out, but they were really hard. And the Torridon Sandstone, I was not sure on the color because it looked a bit different from what I had seen. I was okay with that, and I was just chatting the other day with Crixis that I mentioned here in previous videos about the Paynes Grey original that I got, and she had a video also that she just published a few weeks ago, I believe, about some dot cards she got from Natasha Newton, and we could not understand why her dot card of Paynes Grey original looked very different from mine. So long story short, I contacted Wallace and Seymour to ask about that. I also mentioned to them about the other paints, and they were kind enough to offer me to send a new batch of these paints that I wasn't sure of, or the ones that were hardened. And of course I took the chance also to buy from them some new colors that I was interested in. They told me that they could send me, I pay for the paints, they only send me the ones that I had previously bought and were hardened. They send me those free of charge. So I have these to share with you. I have some things I got from Amazon and I received yesterday together with the Wallace and Seymour paints. There's this tiny palette that you can see a bit much everywhere nowadays. You can also find it on AliExpress, I believe. It's a tiny wooden palette. It has like a mixing area and has like 12 or 15 wells. Some of them come with the little plastic empty pens inside. The one I got is empty, but they're really tiny. I don't know. I saw the picture on the ad and I thought, okay, it's a travel palette, but I didn't realize they were so tiny. It doesn't fit a lot of paint, so maybe it's even better not to have the pen, even though it will be harder to clean, I believe. But just for comparison, I have here on the table, this is I have an partially empty half pen. Look at the size. So it's very tiny, but it looks fun enough to bring with you on plein air painting. It has magnets, so it stays firmly closed, and it has this area here that you can use with a clamp to attach it to your sketchbook. Before, I had the impression before I was able to, yeah, look, depending on the side, you can also join them with magnets like this, so that's neat as well. It's not all the side, yes, there's this side here with the two of them. You can see I didn't think this properly before showing you, but you get the idea, no? Here you have it. This looks nice, so we'll be going in my, probably in my next trip, I'll be bringing this with some paint. So another thing I got off of Amazon during Prime Day, this was had some promotion to it. I'm gonna put here the price I paid on Prime Day. I don't remember now from the top of my head, but they were really inexpensive. These are watercolor brushes by Transon, and I've never heard of them before, but they had good reviews from people that tried them, and for the price I thought it was, well, worth trying. I'm always up to find new and expensive watercolor brushes, and if they're not the best for watercolor, I can always use them for gouache. So I think I'm gonna open these. That's nice, easy to open. I'm gonna open these and I'm gonna choose one of these brushes to swatch my Wallace Seymour paints, so I can test the brush at the same time. I have many numbers, quite long and pointy. I think I'll try number 8 or number 9 maybe. I don't have any brush number 9, so I'll try this one. Now it's time to open the box. I have waited, well, I received it yesterday, but I'm very curious to try it. So here we have the little pack of paints that I got from Wallace Seymour directly. I don't think that they sell directly, it's just because since I was getting a replacement for the colors that I had problems with, I asked them if they could send me a catalog of all of their vintage colors, because I find it quite hard to see all they have. I couldn't find a color chart anywhere, and they told me just to check Artreg's website to see better, but they did send me a file with all the colors and the names. There was no pigment information, I think, but I'm gonna see if I manage to put this chart on my blog, and I'm gonna have a link in the description below so you can check that out. And yeah, just to let you know also, I noticed that the color chart they sent me some colors look quite different from the swatches that I could see in the Artrec website, so I'm not sure how reliable are the images, but at least you have there all the names of the paints available. So let me see, they sent me 2 tubes of Paynes Grey original. Didn't expect that. This was the one that I was chatting with Crixie about. We were unsure. She had like a bluer kind of color. Mine were more like a warm gray. And what else? These are the ones I bought. So I bought Hangman's Ochre, Sasso Verde, what else? Escolite Genuine, and Quinacridone Red Gold. And the one they sent me is Torridon Sandstone. This is another replacement that they sent me because mine was a kind of yellowish in tone and it was also hardened. So these are the paints I have to swatch today. I'm gonna be using this Bockingford sketchbook rough. It's 300 gram watercolor paper. And yeah, now just before I start, I'm gonna have to grab myself a palette and also ask you, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so, because this really helps me. You know how things here on YouTube, it helps everything. Any comment, like, share, all is really welcome, and I do appreciate your support. Also using the links that I leave on the video. Sometimes is Amazon affiliate links, sometimes can be Jackson affiliate links. So all of this is really appreciated. It helps me a lot. My channel is quite small and yet to make any money out of it, but I do it really for the pleasure of sharing these things with you, and I appreciate your support. So let me grab a palette. I'm gonna take this tiny palette I have and I'm gonna put some of the colors here now. So let's start with the Paynes Grey Original. Well, this means that now I have 3 tubes of Paynes Grey Original. It won't be finishing anytime soon, so let me just quickly wipe a bit the palette, because even so it was closed, you always get a bit of dust. Now the Torridon Sandstone. Already looks different from the one I got. This one looks more like the color you see on the tube itself, so I'm curious about that. So now I'm gonna put in the roll here below the one that I bought, the new colors I got. Oh, this ochre looks very nice. I can see already some texture. Sasso Verde is supposed to be very, very light. Very delicate paint, but has that kind of grainy effect that Wallace Seymour paints are famous for. So I'm looking forward to that. Now this I had never heard before, Escolite. Was a beautiful green in the swatch of their color chart. When I was researching about this Escolite, I saw that there were other handmade paint sellers that had this paint on Etsy as well. And now this is the quinacridone red gold with the famous P048 that I thought was discontinued, but maybe they still have some, so they're still selling these paints. And now I just need to find my pipette to add a drop of water to the paints. I'll be back soon. So I'm back after chasing after this pipette everywhere. I just grab it now with a bit of water. I'm gonna drop a tiny bit of water to each of these paints. I also took the time to write all the names before, and as usual I'll be showing you the close-up of the swatches afterwards. I also unpacked this new brush. We'll see how it goes. So I'm hoping that you are able to see well, despite being very cloudy now. we have rain. We have been having rain for the past, I don't know how many days. It just rains every day. And now I'm just waiting for it to stop so I can go back to my painting outside. But in the meantime, let's swatch these colors. Hope the noisy rain won't disturb too much. So let's start with the Paynes Grey Original. By the way, once I am done with these swatches, I will be showing you also the previous ones, just so you can compare the Paynes Grey and Torridon Sandstone. So let's see. Because it's raining, I think I'm gonna do some drops, shapes. It looks more on the greenish side, I would say. Maybe not as warm as the one I had. It's definitely different, I think, which is strange. Does this mean that with time this paint gets yellower, the color gets warmer? They actually sent me two tubes, so I wonder if there's a difference. It looks like the same color, but I'm gonna swatch the second tube also, just out of curiosity. Let me do another one here. It looks like the same color to me. I'm trying a bit diluted now, just to have an idea of the tone, but it definitely looks different from the other one I tried. Has a beautiful texture. My swatching is very messy, I apologize, but the important thing is that you get to see the color, and I'm actually happy that it's different, because then it means that I have two versions of the same paint to work with. But you have to take into consideration that if you are using this paint for paintings that you are going to display on the wall or sell, this may be an issue. If I'm not sure if the paint, once it's on the paper, can change color with time as well. So just you can try your own light fast tests as well to check that. I have one light fast test going on since last year for the new Bocco Hondo set of paints, but to be honest, I cannot be taken as a reference in this scenario, because, you know, I'm in Ireland and It's not like we have an infinite supply of sun over here, so you have to take my results with a grain of salt when I share them. Now let's see this Torridon Sandstone. Also, this looks different. The other one I had looked way yellower. What's going on with these paints? Both paints so far look less yellow than the ones I swatched in the previous video. This one looks more like what's here on the tube. It's really the same as the tube. You will see afterwards. I'm gonna show you the page where I swatched the other colors. But I can already say that this is definitely different. I know that there are some colors that with time that they can change tone, like Kim Creek has a very good resource on all sorts of paints. She does loads of light fast tests, and she's in an area with lots and lots of sun, so she can give you really precise results. And I remember seeing a video where she mentioned that malachite is one of these type of unstable paints, but I think that, if I'm not mistaken, malachite was not even the case of the sun itself, but I think it was the contact with the air or the water or something like this, but it caused a chemical reaction and it made the paint get yellower with time, sometimes even in the tube, she mentioned. So I wonder if it's the case with these paints as well. I mean, only time will tell. I'll have this on the sketchbook, which is closed and doesn't have access to light, so it will be a record of the color I had when I got the tubes, and who knows, a few months or years from now, I can always go back and compare to see if the color is still the same. Now, time to try the new colors that I got. I'm very excited about these. This ochre looks really beautiful, Hangman's ochre. It has some grainy texture. It's a really nice tone. A bit like a raw sienna, I would say, and it's, I would say, maybe semi-transparent with this grainy texture. Now Sasso Verde. They had also one called Sasso Rosso. I assume this comes from Italy by the name. Forgot what Sasso means, but Verde means green. It looks a bit like green earth, warm green earth. This was a color that, for example, looking on the swatches, to me it looked quite different from what I see in real life. It's way more pigmented than I saw in the swatches. I had the impression that when I was swatching, it was a bit like almost transparent, very light color with some grains on it, a bit like a Citadel schist. That was another one I was interested in, and in the end I got this one. But yeah, it's quite more pigmented than I expected. It's not the type of color I usually go for, but I thought it was quite unusual and natural. So I'm gonna take it as a challenge to incorporate in my artwork, since it's not the type of color I usually go for. But I have a particular sense of color, or a preference for colors, I should say. At the same time that I like natural looking textural paints, I also love super vibrant, bold colors. So I think it's good maybe to have them both sometimes in the artwork, because then if you have a more toned down color, it makes the vibrant color shine even more. So that's something I'm working on constantly, trying to figure out ways to use color that go a bit beyond what I'm used to. Now let's try this Escolite. This looks to be opaque. It looks a bit like chromium oxide. Oh, I just noticed that I did a square instead of a raindrop. I'm really I'm really distracted while I speak. Or maybe I was just hoping that the rain would end, and I was looking at the window. But it's still raining. It's a very beautiful green. Very rich, and this one I think it's a opaque color. Like I said, it reminds me a bit of chromium oxide, but not as yellow as chrome oxide. It has a beautiful natural green tone. I think so far this is my favorite, maybe. We'll see. Still have to swatch the quinacridone red gold. By the way, the brush is pretty neat. So far, I have no complaints. It's keeping a sharp point. It's not fraying, it's not losing hair, which is the worst. In any case, if my opinion changes, I will let you know in future videos. I think it was too diluted, this one. This for me looks like kind of a burnt sienna color. I don't know, I was expecting to like, I don't know what I was expecting. I think the whole hype about the PO48 make me really have high expectations. I was hoping to hear Angel sing while I was swatching this, but it's okay. It's a beautiful color regardless. I would say it's like a burnt sienna, but a bit more glowy. Let's see how it dries. But from the swatch here, it looks very similar to a burnt sienna, only slightly more vibrant maybe. this is interesting. When I dilute a bit more, then it really becomes more like a pinkish reddish tone. So here we have all the swatches of the colors I got from Wallace Seymour. Now I'm gonna let them dry a little bit, and then I'm gonna be showing you a close-up and also comparing to the previous ones. So see you soon. So I'm back. The rain is over, also I hope, and my swatches are almost all of them dry. There's green, red, gold still a bit wet at the top, but I'm gonna show you anyway so you can have a proper look. So here you have the two ones that they sent me a new tube of, Paynes Grey Original and Torridon Sandstone, and the other ones that I got brand new, Hangman's Ochre. You can see, I hope, some grainy texture. You can feel also, I always do the test to see if there's something coming on my fingers, but no, doesn't seem to be coming on my fingers. And then there's this texture. I don't know if you can hear the difference. Anyway, you have here Sasso Verde. It also has a bit of this grainy texture. It's kind of a brownish green or a greenish brown. Escolite is a very beautiful green, very natural looking. And Queen Red Gold, that is a bit like burnt sienna, a bit more reddish, I would say. You can see reddish undertones when you dilute it, and it has also a bit of grainy texture. Now, let me tell you, while I was waiting for this to dry, I went to check my previous swatches of these two here, and I was shocked. And so you will see by the title of this video that I have questions now. Let's first look at the difference between this Paynes Grey Original Fresh that they sent me and the one I swatched in the previous video. Let me try to open it. Let me zoom in here so you can see better. Does this look like the same color to you? It's a whole different color. This looks like a diluted version of this. This doesn't look anything like this. And that's not the only surprise I had. Now, let's look at Torridon Sandstone, shall we? How do I do that in an easy way for you to see? Maybe if I put both like this. This is the fresh tube they sent me. And this is the one that I swatched on the previous video. Again, not the same color at all. I have the tube here. This looks like the tube color. This doesn't look at all, and that's what I said in my previous video. So it's a whole lot of difference between this and this. Again, it completely lost the pinkish tone and it became yellow. And now I'm gonna also take the chance to compare, to show you the Quinacridone Red Gold compared to the Burnt Sienna. I think it's Bagnoli, the one I got previously. You can see that they are quite similar, only that this one is a bit more reddish. So let me take my old let me take my previous tubes to show you. So I have all my Wallace Seymour tubes in this container. Let me find them. Here you go. Torridon Sandstone. Torridon Sandstone. Not only the color is different, but the tube is also different. Look at this. Now that I look at it, they are both indicating 5 ml tubes, but you can see here that the label on this one is different from this label. This label has the series. No, this one also has the series, but in a different position. So this is clearly an old tube of paint, which at least will help me to differentiate which is which. But now, where is the Paynes Grey original? Same thing, different tube. And also in the tube you can see, pardon my paint stained hands, but also in the tube you can see that the swatching is different. The swatches here, this even on the tube looks more yellowish. So I guess that this gave me more questions than answers. To be honest, I feel like contacting Wallace and Seymour again to check with them if this change in color, what can be the cause of that. If this is a color that they changed with time, and then we have the old formulation, the new formulation, or this is a color that is formulated the same, but with time can change tone. I think it's very important to know that, because if you're going to use this, like I said, in an artwork that you are willing to hang on your wall or sell, you want to be sure that at least for the next couple of years the colors will stay the same. I mean, if you want a gray to remain gray and not to become this beige warm kind of color, I think it's really important to know. So I'm gonna get in touch with them again, and if I get an answer before I post this video here, I'm gonna post here after while I'm editing. Nevertheless, I'll keep using the paints. I'm really happy to have gotten now the new fresh tubes with the proper colors, and also to be able to let you know that this can happen. So depending on which seller you are getting them from, it's something to keep an eye on, and I'll let you know how it goes. Thank you very much for following me until here. If you like, remember to always give me that like, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I see you soon. Bye!